What if I find out there actually is a God? Am I going to have any questions? You bet. The answer after this. So hey, this is Mike, your unelected mayor of Atheistville, and I'm going to take a little bit different stance on this question. We get this question a lot, which is, what would you say to God if you met him? The presumption is, of course, that when we die, we do find out there is in fact a God, and we're standing in front of him, and what would you say? And a lot of the atheists get a little pissy about this question, quite frankly, and they want to accuse God of all these atrocities. You know, why did you let children die, and why do you give bone cancer to people, and why did you let the Titanic go down, and all these sort of things. And that's actually not what I would say. First of all, I would be in awe, because if there is in fact a God and I'm standing in front of it, well, that's kind of amazing, right? That would be something that was earth-shattering, because none of us on this planet that are alive today can claim we've actually seen a God. Some people believe there may be one, but none of us have actually seen one. So to actually see a creator of an entire universe, world, whatever you want to call it, would be amazing. That being said, my question would not be accusational, because my belief would be that the God, if there is one, is not at all representative or represented, I should say, by the religions that I am aware of. Meaning, I'm familiar with Christianity and Judaism and Islam and Hindu and various other religions, but I feel that those are all basically man-made. None of them have any idea what an actual God would say or do, and they're just sort of making up and filling in stories along the way. So I can't really hold a God responsible for not fulfilling the promises that a man-made religion says he or she or it should follow, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to accuse a God necessarily of standing idly by and watching children get raped, or people dying from suffering and torture. This sort of things that tug at all of our heartstrings, because I don't think that a God that created everything is also that tinkerer God, what I call a tinkerer God, a God that follows every move I make and makes sure that my pro football team wins and I don't lose my keys and I score the big job. I don't think that is true of how a God would act. At the same time, I also don't think that it would be aware of a child suffering. Just not my belief. Obviously, it very well could be your belief, but it's not mine. So I would hold off on any sort of accusations or laying blame on a God until I was able to understand the role that this God actually played. And I use this, and there's holes in this logic or holes in this sort of analogy, but if I had an ant farm, I might create the ant farm and I might put the ants in there, but am I aware of an individual ant suffering? No, I'm not. Am I aware that they have some sort of factions in political society? No, I don't care. I'm not really aware of any of that. Now, call that naive. You obviously could disagree with all that, but that's the way I would look at it. So no, if I was standing in front of God, I would not be angry and accusational. I would not want to start throwing flames at this creator. I would quite frankly be fascinated and interested to see how it all works. That's far more interesting to me. I can lay blame later. If it turns out he's exactly the God that I'm more familiar with, which would be a Christian God, then yeah, I would have a few questions. It was, namely, why do children die, and why do people suffer, and why do you let the Holocaust go on if you just stood there and watched it? These would be legitimate questions. I just don't think that's an actual God's purpose. So hope that helps. Hope that clarifies it. I don't know if I did a great job on that. If I didn't, let me know. If I did, also let me know. Thanks a lot and take care. Hey, thanks for checking out my latest video. If you like what you heard, make sure you give me a thumbs up and also subscribe using the button below. That way you get to keep up with all the newest videos. Thanks a lot and take care.